The mad lads at GGG actually gave us the full ascendancy details. So I wanted to put out a quick little video just talking about what I'm going to be doing for the early access start. Is it a league start technically? My league startup, whatever. I'm going to be playing a Chronomancer via the Sorceress class. So let's just quickly pull up a big fat picture of the Ascendancy. I looked through the current list of skills on POE2, whatever's been mined so far, just to look at what skills actually have cooldowns, like generally long cooldowns. So for actual spells, for cold spells specifically, there's Frost Bomb, just like POE1 Frost Bomb. It has a 3.5 second cooldown as of what we know on the POE2 website. And Frost Wall, which has a 3-second cooldown and it can have up to 3 charges. These two skills I think are pretty cool, because pretty cool. It's a cold sort, right? Cold sort. I need to not make chill puns. Basically, my idea with leveling a sorceress in the POE2 campaign will be using a lot of cold spells to chill stuff, to freeze stuff, and then generate freeze charges, freeze energy, I think it's called, for cast on freeze, to then cast more cold skills. These two skills have a cooldown, and so using them, you then have a 1 in 3 chance to not use up the cooldown with this Ascendancy node, this number 1 Ascendancy node, now and again. And then the Time Snap ability, let's say you use all 3 of your Frost Walls, and then you Time Snap, and then you can get all 3 charges back again. Another step that you could go with these two Ascendancy points in particular is to go Mercenary style. You could go Crossbow skills. I know Cluster Grenade, and I think it's Heavy something grenade, Heavy Incendiary Grenade. There's basically 2 or 3 crossbow skills which have a cooldown. Cluster Grenade, in particular, looks fucking sick. So imagine you use this, you get the 1 in 3% chance not to use the cooldown, you use it again, and then you rewind, and then you use it again, and you just have 3 big cluster grenades go off. So I could definitely see that I try out some sort of crossbow, Chronomancer, crossbowmancer thing. I will definitely post about that. It'll be a good time, I promise. And of course, the meme choice, the absolute meme choice of rewinding your cooldowns is Hammer of the Gods. Hammer of the Gods is probably going to be the most socketed attack skill for any attack build, just because putting it on your ability list and using it twice a minute will definitely increase your damage. This skill is insane on paper, having 1300 attack damage, but it has a 24-second cooldown. Imagine with this class, again, you use your Hammer of the Gods, it doesn't waste the cooldown because you procced the 1 in 3 chance, the 33% chance. Then you Hammer the Gods again, and then you rewind, you get the cooldown back, and then you Hammer the Gods again. It's so stupid. I really want to try this. I think it would be hilarious. So when it comes to taking your 3rd Ascendancy point, I think it's kind of up in the air, but I wanted to try this Apex of the Moment node, which is number 6 on the graphic that GGG provided. This is a node which gives you 20% slow on enemies that are around you, and I want to combine this with the chill you get from cold spells and temporal chains. If you don't know what temp chains does, it essentially slows enemies in a similar way to the wording of this Apex of the Moment node. So I'm hoping that they combine. I'm hoping that these two sources of slow stack alongside chill, and you can just create this situation where enemies are so slow that you can rely a bit less on defenses. Because I know for a fact that this Ascendancy does not have any defenses built into it. So I'm hoping that, you know, if your enemy attacks you less, that's effectively defense, is like pseudo defense. If this doesn't work, if Apex of the Moment doesn't stack with temp chains, I will most likely be trying out the Temporal Rift and the Pause Time, you know, the big reveal skills that they showed off where you rewind time and you can freeze stuff. I do think the freezing time is a bit of a gimmick, but it will give you time to set up combo skills, or for example, if you go through with the crossbow or slam meme setups that I mentioned before, you could set up a bunch of your skills while everything is frozen in time, and then just have this massive payload of AoE damage. And maybe that's cool, maybe that's fun. Again, it's something to try, and you know, I'll give it a fair stab and post some clips about it and talk about it. Something I forgot to mention is that I, like everyone else that's going to be playing this game, I will be streaming it. I will be discussing it with a lot of my friends and just trying a bunch of different things out, you know, checking out all the new info, checking out the skill tree, you know, the things that we don't already know, the things that are updated. If you're interested in dropping by because you want to play a Chronomancer, or you just want to check what I'm doing, maybe, you know, steal some technology for your own build, my links for everything will be downstairs. Finally, I just want to do a very loose introduction to the passive tree, what I think I will be taking. It's generally speaking, this website and any other sources out there will be outdated. They won't be definite. They won't be 100% accurate. So I've done my best to just take very generic pathing nodes. And a lot of that starts at this point at the top of the tree, which is the witch start and the sorcerer start, going through the spell damage portion, and then taking the first spell damage node, of course. I'm going to skip this little wheel here because it seems like there's a few different types of spells and skills which aren't relevant to elemental damage. So I'm going to take these attribute highways, I think they're called. They're calling them like attribute highways, basically pathing nodes. This little node here, which is next to, I think one of these nodes is called, yeah, it's called increased damage of hits against enemies affected by elemental ailments. And that's just on the small nodes. Of course, we're going to be chilling. Most likely, we're going to be using shock as a utility for more damage. So that's two different types of elemental ailments that we will be inflicting. And the notable, it says 40% increased damage of hits against enemies affected by elemental ailments. This number could change regardless, but this will still work for us because we will be inflicting chill, we'll be inflicting freeze, and we will be shocking things. And then this node here, the 3-prong node, this is all different types of elemental penetration. This is kind of your choose your character, you know, you're going to level with fire skills, lightning skills, or cold skills. It basically depends on what loot you get. Maybe you get a staff with really good cold affixes. You kind of just pick what you want here, and then you try and climb up the tree a bit more. So we'll be going up the attribute highways again, because again, there's more damage here, specifically for freeze buildup. If this stays the same, there is a line that says, gain 25% of cold damage as extra fire damage against frozen enemies. And this will synergize with the cast on freeze or cast on frozen thing that I showed earlier. Basically, when we freeze enough things, the thing that gets frozen will get targeted by this big boom. It could be comet, it could be cold snap, and then we'll get this extra cold damage as fire damage thingy from this notable. So that could be a nice bolster to our damage. There's another like generic elemental damage cluster here. Only this notable is available. It's a little bit of increased LE damage with a little bit of elemental penetration. Again, not sure if this is going to be 100% when the game comes out. We also don't know what this other notable does. So you will have to feel it out a little bit. Is it good? Is it worth? Now at the very top of the tree, we have a fire cluster, cold cluster, and a lightning cluster. These were shown in the weapon swap showcase, like the weapon set points showcase. Most of these, it's a pretty solid bet if you're going cold skills that they will be good for your build, and the same can be said for the other two elements. Again, you'll just have to feel this one out. So when we pathed all the way up here to the very top of the witch tree, we'll be taking this jewel socket here, which is for one jewel socket, and then at this section here, there's a jewel socket either side. So we can get 3 jewel sockets and be around, this website says 45 points, but we're not counting the jewel sockets. So I don't know how many levels we'll be at with 45 points selected, but this is pretty early in the game. You could assume that you beat acts 1 through 3 and maybe you just start the cruel version of the acts again, and this is kind of like your early damage setup. It's just a lot of generic damage and it gives you a lot of freedom to eyeball the tree and maybe go, I think Blasphemy is going to be the way to go for our build, and I think a lot of people will also try this out, the Whispers of Doom and Blasphemy setup. After this, I just took a bunch of Energy Shield nodes, pretty much. I think Energy Shield is just the way to go for the intelligence-based characters. We're not going to be stacking a lot of armor, I think we're just going to be stacking a lot of Energy Shield, getting it on our gear, and then taking increased Energy Shield on the tree. I was going to go over some skills, but I think that there's just going to be too much experimentation, and I'm basically going to try as much as I can. So yeah, I tried to keep this under 10 minutes. I'm sorry if I yapped at all. I did try to trim as much of this as possible. I hope you guys enjoy POE2. I'm going to have a blast, and I will be uploading more, so if you're interested in Chronomancer updates, then subscribe, like this video, and leave any comments with anything that you think is going to be OP, and I'd be interested in talking about it more. So see you soon for more POE2.